news that's short, sharp and shrewd.
Are you talking about the podcast or me?
Both.
Backhanded compliment.
This is Up Late with Ben Harvey. Lots of big promises from our politicians.
Lots of big lies from our politicians. They used to blush when they said things like this.
We'll take resources like lithium and nickel, essential elements of the batteries that will power the vehicles of the future, and instead of shipping them to another country to make batteries, we'll have what we need to make them right here. And then we can sell them to the world.
Now they just say it like it's fact. They aren't even trying to give themselves wriggle room anymore when they're peddling crap to us.
We will bring manufacturing back home.
If only it was that simple.
They must think we're all stupid. So let's create a lithium battery industry. As Albo says, we've got all the raw ingredients here, so it's probably pretty easy, right? Why stop at batteries? We've got all the iron ore. Let's be the world's steel mill. We've got heaps of bauxite. Every West Australian kid who did an Alcoa tour in the hills knows that. So why don't we start producing the world's aluminium? And if we can make all the aluminium and all the steel, why don't we create a car manufacturing industry? Oh, hang on. We did. We produced some pretty good cars and some not so good ones. And then we realised China does it cheaper, Japan does it more efficiently, and Germany does it better.
Oh, that is breathtaking.
We gave it a crack.
Yeah. We've got all the gold and the silver and the diamonds that we need, so why aren't we making our own jewellery instead of relying on people in Antwerp? We've got a lot of wool and a hell of a lot of cotton. Why are the great fashion houses of the world in Milan instead of Mandurah?
It's the culture, Daryl. The place is full of culture.
Chockers.
Any politician that says we can do any form of industrial manufacturing at scale in Australia is lying to you.
This debate's old as the hills.
Iron ore, one of the heaviest things on Earth by volume, and steel is one of the most energy-intensive industrial processes on Earth.
We work hard, we play hard.
If there's any country on Earth that should be able to produce steel cheaply, it's us. Because we've got everything we need right here and the transport of those raw materials is so expensive. But it's cheaper for Australia to load iron ore onto a ship and then nickel and manganese and all the other elements you need onto another ship. And then 100,000 tonnes of liquefied gas onto an LNG carrier behind those two ships, sail all of them 7,000 kilometres to China, get them to make the steel there, and then sail the stuff 7,000 kilometres back to us. We don't have a steel industry because it's too expensive to do here. Every time we've tried, we've closed it down because it requires massive taxpayer subsidies.
Maybe we need to try again, though. I mean, we've got to be the capital of the world at something.
Got a lot of cows. These two are proof we're good at bullshit. Mark McGowan and Amber Jade Sanderson reckon they've cracked the code and might finally have a way of solving the problem of ambulance ramping. Kind of.
So I'm not looking for a quick fix.
No, Amber Jade, we really are. People are dying while they wait. They're going to put a registered nurse inside ED waiting areas to care for the patients that are dropped off by the ambulance crews. That lets the paramedics get back on the road.
Seems logical.
So inherently logical that you wonder why it hasn't happened before.
Special subject of bleeding obvious.
We have 15 emergency departments in WA that are under pressure from ramping. It's going to cost $59 million to have an RN in each of them every second of the day. The WA health budget is $10.6 billion a year. $59 million is in the margin of error for the health budget. It's barely a line item. It's logical and it's cheap. So why didn't Roger Cook do it when he was Health Minister and getting smashed by headlines like these? Ask yourself this. Where are these extra nurses coming from?
Probably from inside the emergency ward.
Yeah. And we don't have enough nurses to fill existing positions, let alone newly created ones. We're going to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're spending $74 million to free up beds being used by long-term patients who should be in aged care.
It provides a better quality of life for those patients who don't want to be in hospital and they don't need to be in hospital.
This is exactly the same plan as former Health Minister Jim McGuinty had in 2007, former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd had in 2010, former WA Health Minister Kim Hames had in 2015, former WA Premier Colin Barnett had in 2017, and Roger Cook had when he first became Health Minister. As well as passing the health ball to Amber Jade, Roger apparently also passed the playbook.
It is those people who come with category 4 or 5 that are spending longer in the emergency department. And it is those people that we need to divert to either GP clinics or other alternative methods.
We're getting a data hub. That's new.
So Amber Jade Sanderson can sit there like Neo in The Matrix.
I know Kung Fu.
$18 million to work out how many free beds we have at any one time.
This will be a centralised operations centre for the state health system, both regional and metro.
I'll tell you for free, Minister. 0.
Holy shit.
Is this you being cynical again?
No, they know it won't work. She pretty much said so herself.
So we don't expect great improvement in the coming months, given we're still in very high caseload numbers of COVID and we are coming into our winter season.
And you know how I know it won't work?
How?
Because it's being overseen by a task force.
A ministerial task force will be established, and I will oversee this work personally.
Anytime you hear a politician say they've created a task force, you know they have no idea what they're doing. Mark McGowan has created task forces to tackle the problem of meth, domestic violence and homelessness. And we've very clearly got those problems linked.
Albanese reckons he's getting a roof over everyone's head.
Yeah, he's trying to match Morrison on appealing to first home buyers.
For too long, Australians who have worked hard have been locked out of the housing market by flat wages and rising prices.
So we're encouraging a bunch of people who can't afford homes to buy in at the top of the market just as interest rates are taking off.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, I am going to rant, because everyone should know it's a good time to buy when everyone else is selling. And right now, everyone else is buying. Here's a dose of reality about the housing market. Let's say you buy an investment property to rent out. Costs you $720,000. You might be getting $500 a week for it. For the purposes of this example, we'll be nice and say your mortgage is not $720,000, it's $570,000 because you sold another property or you got an inheritance or something like that. At interest rates of 2.8%, you are $3,000 a year in the black. Well done you. And that's allowing for $7,000 a year in rates and insurance and all the other stuff. At 4%, that $3,000 annual profit is a $3,800 annual loss. At 5%, you are $9,500 a year in the hole, and at 6%, still relatively low interest rates historically speaking, you are more than $15,000 a year out of pocket. The real world difference between life today at 2.8% and life in a couple of years at 6%, and don't kid yourself, it will be at 6%, is massive.
Ouch, that's bad.
Well, that's just your annual recurrent financial headache. Think about what that means for your capital growth position. If that house is costing you $15,200 a year, you need to be going up in value by almost 5% a year just to break even.
Dad still can't work out how he got it so cheap. It's worth almost as much today as when we bought it.
It's only when it goes up by more than that that your investment starts getting any type of real return. Even if the property goes up by 7% a year, which is pretty good, you're only ahead by an extra 2% a year.
Geez, you're depressing.
The truth is depressing. That's why politicians lie all the time.
Prime Minister, you said earlier today you've never lied in public life. Is that really true?
No, that's what I believe to be true.
Have you ever told a lie in public life?
No.
Probably.
I'm Ben Harvey. If you'd like to watch Up Late with me, Ben Harvey, search for The West Australian on YouTube.